Yeah, the Eagles have the advantage from the health standpoint. Bottom line is that's been every game, um, and that luck of health continues. Whatever, if you don't want to use that term, I know the Eagles don't like it, but they're on a hell of a run.
And welcome in, everybody, to a Game Day Monday edition of Birds 365 here on JAKIB Sports. I'm your host, Zander Krause. That's my co-host, John McMullen, kicking off a big week of content, everybody. Starting off on a Game Day Monday. Johnny Mac, how you doing this Monday morning, my friend?
Football finally here.
Yeah.
What was it been 15, 16 days? What is it? Yeah, it's been a long time.
15 days, yeah. I think it's been 15 days.
Yeah, rare stretch like that in the regular season. We'll see. Typically, the Eagles have been very successful coming off bye weeks. Good game, good teams, two good teams, two of the best teams in the NFC. I think they'll still tell us a lot about the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely a good litmus test type of game to see where they stand. Obviously on the road at Lambeau Field in Green Bay tonight for the Birds. Maybe the toughest test or one of the toughest tests so far of the season. I know we had some good opponents early in the year, but early in the year is early in the year. You know, you're in week 10 now, so teams have their identities a little bit more and less preseason atmosphere after September. So here we have the Green Bay Packers. Johnny Mac, what's the update real quick? But we're going to get into a bunch of stuff today. We're going to have Jeff Kerr. I want to welcome everybody in here. Don't forget to hit that like button. It's game day, everybody. But what is the update on who's playing? I know I saw Cam Jurgens is officially ruled out of this game. Jaire Alexander ruled out. He is not traveling with the team to Green Bay. What do you know, Johnny Mac? What can you give us kind of an inside scoop on that type of stuff?
Yeah, well, Cam, he didn't practice all week, so it was evident early on that he wasn't going to play. So, still haven't put him on injured reserve. Today's because of the Monday night game. You can push things off your typical Saturday moves. You can push them off to Monday. So I expect the Eagles to activate Nolan Smith from injured reserve. He's listed as questionable, but we'll see how that goes. Jacorian Bennett and Wooly Lampkin are also on their 21-day practice windows. If the Eagles wanted to activate them today, they would have to make subsequent roster moves, which is always a possibility. But as far as guys on the 53-man roster, Cam's and Jaire are the only ones ruled out. Jaire, more of a acclimation, ramp up, whatever you want to call it, period. Trying to get his knee as healthy as possible to sort of, catch lightning perhaps down late in the season. That's the goal with him. I wish people would listen to this show. They would have already known it. The only new part is he didn't travel, and maybe they don't want to bother him with returning to Green Bay, and everybody thinks this is some kind of massive deal, more than a dart throw, which is kind of what it is. So I think people have to sort of reset their mentality, their sentiments, their thought process on that particular trade. They gave up a 6th-round pick to get the guy, and they got a 7th-round pick back, by the way. So really, sort of just dropping down, although it was different years, but dropping down and draft. So they didn't give up a ton. It's more of a dart throw. But Cam's the big injury. Brett Toth will play again at center. You have Drew Kendall to be the backup. And as I said, we'll see about Wooly Lampkin. I will say, and we don't get to watch a lot of practice, but what I did see with Wooly's was more working at guard, not center. So I'm not sure that would be the plan. So again, relatively healthy team, the Philadelphia Eagles. And everybody before the bye that you were thinking about, Saquon tweaked his groin against the Giants, AJ with the hamstring. Kylan Granson popped up with an abdomen. Adoree Jackson coming off the concussion protocol. Moro Jomo, again, concussion. Those guys were all full participants by Saturday, the last practice of the week, and they will all be ready to go if the Eagles want them. And obviously certain players, Saquon, AJ, Moro,
right,
are definitely going to play.
Yep, there you go. There's your injury update. John, do you know anything real quick? I didn't have a chance to look at the Packers report. Do you know if any of their key guys are missing in this game? Do you know? I can try
I know Zach Tom is questionable. He's a big one because
Yeah.
he's one of the more underrated players, I think, in the league, and is very important to their offensive line. He's had some injury issues this year. Darren Kennard's out there, by the way, and has played well when he's been forced into play. But obviously, Zach Tom is a very good player. He's dealing with a back injury. He's been limited all week. He's questionable. I think he's going to play. Dontavian Wicks has been limited with a calf injury, and that's always difficult for a receiver. So that might be an issue. Savion Williams has also been limited with a foot. He's another receiver. Matthew Golden with the shoulder listed as practice. Now, he did not practice on Friday and Saturday. So we'll see.
That's three receivers, man, on the report for that. Now, maybe two of them play, but
yeah. So they're banged up at receiver. Everybody else is Nate Hobbs, I should mention him. He's the one guy they ruled out. He's a corner.
and I think Lucas Van Ness, right? You might have mentioned him.
Yes, Lucas also. Thank you. He's out. So he's out with a foot injury. And they had 1, 2. That's why I missed him. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 people on their injury report this week that were dealing with something. So yeah, the Eagles have the advantage from the health standpoint. Bottom line is that's been every game. And that luck of health continues, whatever, if you don't want to use that term. I know the Eagles don't like it, but they're on a hell of a run when it comes to
partly luck. I don't care what you say. I mean, it's football, man. People get hurt. There's no doubt about it. It's partly luck. All right, John, good stuff there on the injury reports. I'm going to go next real quick just to the weather. I was looking at the weather. Looks like there won't be much snow tonight, but that sucker's going to be cold. It's supposed to get down there in the 20s during the game and might even get as low as 20 degrees during the game tonight. So should be a pretty chilly, the first really chilly game of the year for this Eagles team out in Green Bay.
Yeah, that's Green Bay in November. That's pretty good, man. Yeah,
I
mean, and remember the field is heated out there, so I don't think it'll be an issue whatsoever. There's light snow, I think, during the day, but it's supposed to be out of there by game time, and it'll start at 28 and go down from there. But that's pretty good for Green Bay. I mean,
I didn't realize they had a heated field. That obviously changes a lot because when you get tackled, you're not getting
Yeah, I mean, it's still cold as crap. But,
no, I know. But
it helps.
Frosted over turf or grass, and that's not fun.
Well, it's not about the comfort. It's about the playing surface as far as being better for the players and
grip and things like
that type of thing. It's still, when it's that cold, it's still cold. But it could be much worse in Green Bay this time of year. Could be better, but it could be worse as well.
Yep. All right, Johnny Mac, top of the mind before we get into some of the detailed conversation, some of the key matchups in this game, 5 things to watch we'll go over. What's kind of just on your mind coming into the game in terms of keys to the game, keys to victory for maybe either team? Like, what do you think the Eagles have to do offensively, defensively? Where do you think the Packers have to be offensively, defensively? What do you kind of see as the keys to this game coming in Eagles-Packers Week 10?
Well, I lean more towards the Packers side because they're the ones chasing the Eagles from the standpoint of, as a contender, and having played them twice last season, lost to them both times, lost to them in the playoffs. And obviously the big difference between the Packers last season and the Packers this season is the addition of Micah Parsons, which some interesting poison pill stories came out about. Packers aren't allowed to trade him to the Eagles. So that's how, that when you talk about the Eagles offering 2 first-round picks and a 3rd-round pick and a 5th-round pick and players, it was never going to happen in Dallas. And that's just another indication of that. As nutty as Jerry Jones is, he was not going to do that. Um, and that poison pill tells you exactly that. But that's number one. And the Eagles know, and they're used to playing him, and they game plan for him, and they've been successful in the past. But I also think, we compared against most players, most teams. We always talk about the Aaron Donald thing now. Eagles fans would puff up their chest that they never gave up a sack to Aaron Donald, which is true. But I've had this get. You don't know what they did to accomplish that.
Right.
So much. And Kelsey tells great stories about that. Just how good he was and how dominant he was. And, if there was a one-on-one in it with Aaron Donald, it was a mistake in Kelsey's own words. And I'm not going to say it's to that level, but it's close with Micah Parsons. And, he's, I think, 7 games with the Eagles, and he's got 5 sacks. Now, compare that to usual. That's pretty stinking good against the Philadelphia Eagles. He's just a really difficult player to deal with. And the one thing I like about the Packers, they've gotten back more to what the Cowboys did early in his career when they moved him all over the place, because they started at off-ball linebacker and it was an injury, and you know the story, and they used to move him all over the place, and that sort of tempered when he got so good at being an edge rusher. They kind of flipped him from side to side, but it wasn't much. The Packers will line him up sort of like early Cowboys-esque, and if that means inside, that means inside. You might see him against Brett Toth. I'm not saying a lot, but you might see him against Brett Toth. They seem more willing to do that than the Cowboys were at the end. So it always starts with him. And talking to the Eagles over the years, it always starts with him when they're playing him. So that's number one. And then I think turnovers, it's the Eagles don't turn the football. It's the most amazing thing. I one of the best thing about these weeks about when the Eagles aren't playing on Sunday, I don't like them typically, but you get to watch the rest of the league, and I try to watch Red Zone so I can get a feel for each game.
Yeah.
There's turnovers all over the stinking place in this league.
Yeah.
All over the place. And they don't turn the football over. It is amazing. And it starts with Jalen Hurts, but it's not only Jalen Hurts. They don't fumble. They don't turn the football over. And, Green Bay hasn't turned the football over that much, not to the level of the Eagles, but Jordan Love only has 3 interceptions. And they've been very good. So I think turnovers are always big in every NFL game, but these are 2 teams that take very good care of the football this season. If you go back to last season, the Eagles beat the Packers because they turned it over 4 times.
Yeah, exactly.
They only scored, I don't know, 21, 20, whatever it was.
Points. They won. Is it like a playoff game? They won 22-10. Jordan Love had 3 interceptions in that game.
Yeah, and there was a special teams turnover as well. That's how they won that football game. That was actually one of those Jalen Hurts games where he only threw for a very low amount of yardage. I think people forget that. So turnovers are going to be big in this game. The Eagles have to keep that ball security run going, and Green Bay has to sharpen it. And then, you asked me before we started the show, I joked on Thursday last week was the largest media group of the year because they got all the new players. By Saturday, because they typically don't practice them, it was the smallest media group of the year. I think I caught Devontae. I think I caught him. Not purposefully. We were talking about the identity, not the identity. We weren't talking about the identity. It morphed into that. We were talking about having so many good players and the idea that the old idea there's only one football, and when you have so many good players, it's tough to get everybody their reps. So I went back. I said, well, you were at Alabama. You guys had some damn good players at Alabama. So you must be used to that. And he was like, yeah, but it's not the same to me. He said, basically, it's two different situations. Because they were a pass first team.
Yeah.
And
he got the football a lot at Alabama.
Well, obviously, he won the Heisman Trophy, and I brought that. I mean, you were the number one guy, but yet still, you had tons of good players. And he basically said, "Yeah, but those are two different situations. We were a passing team there, and I'm quoting him now, and that's what we wanted to do going into games. That was the identity, throwing the ball. Here, we know the identity. We know the identity. This is where I caught him. Nobody talks about, well, we're trying to find. No, they know their identity. Controlling the game, ground and pound.
Right.
When we have those chances outside, we can make the opportunities on the outside. We're going to do that. So, it's different situations. He let the cat out of the bag. They know. Like, that's why Devontae sometimes and AJ walk around like Eeyore. They know what the goal is. And the goal is run the ball, ground and pound, control the game. So can we stop talking I'm not talking to you. Can we stop having this identity question? And it goes back to that Minnesota game coming out of the mini bye. Like, well, they're throwing it there. That wasn't the plan. That wasn't the plan. The plan going into the game, as Devontae said with Alabama, we wanted to throw the ball. Here, ground and pound, control it. Nothing wrong with it, but just the identity talk.
Yeah, right. Because it's obviously the big question in Philly, like every damn week,
Yes.
Yeah.
No, they're not changing. Now, the game, the personality of the game, as it did against the Vikings, may change it. And as Nick has said a million times, we got to throw it 40 times. We'll throw it 40. We got to run it. But the goal going into the game is to get the running game going. Always.
Now, speaking of that offense, John, coming in with no Cam Jurgens again, looks like Brett Toth is going to be the center. He is going to be the center tonight. How much does that shift? Because, they did run a lot of under center the last two games, especially in that Giants game in week 8. And maybe some people pointed to, was that a philosophical change, or was that Brett Toth doesn't like to snap the ball in shotgun as much? How do you kind of see that part playing out tonight? I think the identity will obviously be to run the football, but that does give you the opportunity to have the play actions, to do some of those different things from under center that they did in week 8. How much do you expect that to impact the game tonight?
Yeah, I think it was a happy coincidence with Brett Toth.
Mm-hmm.
But no, if Cam was ready, they were going, their whole thought coming out of the mini bye when they got started on the self scout was that teams are selling it out, crashing the opposite end to stop the run game when you're running from shotgun, from the gun or even pistol. And they wanted to get under center more. Happy coincidence that Brett was in there. And by the way, he played. He was the best player on the field against the Giants.
That's why I wonder if it's like, is he better than Cam Jurgens when Cam's not healthy? Probably is.
Maybe.
We'll
see.
Cam has not been himself this year, all year, even all the games.
Well, that's fair. He's not playing up to it. But, it is one game. I want to see him again.
Yeah, I think that's fair. But I'm more concerned about Cam than I am excited about Brett. I'm happy Brett had a big game. I'm more with you where you got to keep saying it. When it comes to Cam, I think we saw a pretty good sample size that he's not the same.
He definitely wasn't playing like himself. But either was Landon Dickerson until that Giants game. And all of a sudden, Landon Dickerson looked like Landon Dickerson again. So, hopefully that continues after the bye, because I think you could have said the same thing. So, But now, I'm a little bit more worried about this knee injury because it's not the back, it's the knee that's keeping Cam Jurgens out now. Now, they still haven't put him on injured reserve. They could today. We'll see how that shakes out. And obviously, if he goes on injured reserve, that's at least 4 games. But he's not on there yet. And until they put him on there, that's an indication that they think he'll be back before that 4 games. Now, you already had 1. This would be number 2. So then you have Detroit. By the way, Detroit bounced back in a big freaking way.
Yeah.
That's the part of when I talk about the spot. Again, Green Bay played poorly last week. I don't like that spot because generally good teams, and again, they're a good team. I don't know if there is a great team, but they're a good team. Generally, they don't have 2 bad games in a row. I don't like that spot. So I'm sure we'll get into that as well. But yeah, I mean, a little concerned about Cam and where it is, but CIA level subterfuge with the Eagles and injuries these days.
Yeah, I don't need to hear from their mouth. I can see with my own 2 eyes. That's not the same football player, and he was healthy at the start of the year. Not healthy in, as healthy as he could be.
Healthy-ish.
Yeah, healthy-ish, I think is a good word for it.
That's like Jaire Alexander in Baltimore. A lot of people, well, they traded him. He's healthy. Nah, he's healthy-ish. That's the whole point.
Yeah.
You don't want the guy in Baltimore, and the guy in Baltimore is dealing with knee issues. You want to get him as optimal as possible to try to sort of catch lightning later in the season is the goal with Jaire Alexander.